A couple guys had some offseason surgeries, getting ready for 2025. We'll discuss coming up next year on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button to let you know when new episodes drop. A couple of players tweeted out post-surgical recoveries on the X on Twitter. Jayden Jackson, I guess, had some work done on his shoulder. Didn't look like anything too significant. Maybe I'm just looking at a picture, but it looked maybe like a little scope procedure just to maybe clean something out of his shoulder. Yeah. I don't know that. That's just me speculating based on a picture that I saw. Andy Bass did mention that he had another ACL injury, which, dude,
oh man, sucks.
Man, hate that. Absolutely
hate
it. That. Get well soon. Jaden Jackson obviously is a significant one that we're going to have to monitor. It's going to limit what he can do during winter workouts, but you probably expect him by spring ball. His development is going to be vital to the Oklahoma Sooners defense in 2025, 2026, and hopefully you can keep him for 2027. But what are your thoughts on what we've seen as far as with Jayden Jackson, Andy Bass, and their injury situations?
Yeah, and it kind of made sense that there would be some sort of a cleanup happen here in the offseason. Like, looking at the bandages that I saw that he had and the little sling, it didn't look like it was like a full rotator cuff surgery or something like that. It's nothing that made me feel like I should be really that concerned. It did look like just a cleanup, right? And off-season shoulder cleanup is very common in football. This is not an uncommon thing, especially as much in the trenches as Jaden Jackson was playing. You know, first his mom tweeted out a picture of him, had an IV fluid, you know, and she was saying prayers and everything. So when I first saw it, I was like, okay, I wonder if he ended up getting that Nova virus or something that's been floating around. He probably got sick. They had to give him some fluids. And he's a big boy. So that means you got to get a little fluid, a lot of fluids to get yourself hydrated. Hydration is critical, everybody. Make sure you stay hydrated during this winter season. But that didn't end up being, you saw the picture of the shoulder. So I'm like, okay, it looks like some sort of, like you said, a scope or a cleanup in the shoulder. And knowing him, he's probably back during winter workouts, doing standard movements, and he'll probably be ready to go come spring training camp, which is the only thing that matters. I need him to be nice and strong when it comes to spring, as well as hitting folks in the fall. I just need you to be ready there. So that's what it looked like. Now with Andy Bass, though, I did hear that he got hurt as the scout team quarterback in preparation for the Navy game. God. And I'm hoping that, you know, knock on wood, that wasn't the bad omen that happened in that one and made that game so atrociously bad. But, I mean, supposedly he was looking good. He was killing it. He was working, folks. And then, you know, and it looked like he had like 2 surgeries because both knees were all bandaged up in that picture. John, I was just like, good gosh, man, I feel horrible for him. He wins, go to the state championship game, gets hurt, comes to Oklahoma, looks good, getting his running, and then he gets hurt prepping for a bowl game. That's just no bueno. I'm praying for fast recoveries. I'm really hoping that we can get him back, because I truly want to see him on the field. But It looks like it won't be in 2025.
Yeah, that's one of those dudes that when he does get on the field eventually, I think he's going to make an impact. Just got to get him on the field. And, you know, he was about a year out from his ACL injury last year. So I would think that they're going to be very conservative moving forward with Andy Bass. You know, you're not going to want to rush him back. I doubt they'll have him playing scout team quarterback this time next year if Oklahoma's preparing for a bowl game or a playoff game. I think you're probably looking at 2026 spring ball, fall camp before you start seeing Andy Bass again, because now with 2 ACLs, you're going to want to take good care of the guy and make sure that he's really, 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 really well and ready to go. But, and that's not to say that he wasn't well and ready to go. It's just second knee injury. That's just a tough one.
It sucks.
Injuries are going to be something that we monitor this offseason, because Jaden Gibson, we're going to be watching to see how his recovery is going. Is he going to be ready for fall camp? Gentry Williams is another guy that everybody's going to be watching to see, okay, can he get on the field and stay healthy? Deion Burks, coming back from the ankle, or I guess the lower body injury, and then the concussion. You're going to want to protect his head, man. You don't want him to get any more concussions. Any other injuries that we really need to monitor? The Taylors, or the Jakes, I guess, as you say, the Sexton,
Jake and Jake, the law firm of Jake and Jake. Yeah, it seems like they're the ones that, if there's any injuries that I think we really need to keep an eye on, is probably them. Like Gentry's, of course, one that we want hope that he's back to play early in the fall. He's spent an entire full year now with the shoulder piece. Playing in the first 2 games after he fell on it a second time. He looked like something else was wrong. So hopefully he is back and healthy and ready to go, because, as we've talked about before, Gentry Williams is a game changer in the secondary. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Kendall Dolby. Hopefully he did not have ligament damage and he's back right when the season starts. If not, I expect him around conference play. But then you picked up a player like a Kendall Daniels, which, kind of takes away your Kendalls. It replaces one Kendall with the Kendall, except for it's not Dolby, it's Daniels. So you get a KD situation. I know I'm just going all over the place with this comparison, but I digress.
Yeah.
As long as you've got Dolby coming back at some point with Gentry, it gives you some good corners, but more so Jake and Jake. Just kind of a preview of us talking about this on the O-line in the near future, but if you really look at it, if you get both the Taylors back, you still have Logan Howell and Isaiah Autry-Dent there right behind them to play your other tackles, and then you've got the 2 freshmen coming in Fasusi and Foger. And I'm going to be honest, John, Bill Beatonbo's cooking with that offensive line now. Like, he's got guys with experience. And if you get a healthy Jake Taylor and a healthy Jacob Sexton, that experience is going to change them, because they needed that 1 year out there. Still got Waywu. You still got Fabici Waywu. You still got Eddie Pierre-Louis right there with him. Ozeta is looking like he's manned up. He started manning up as the season went on. So, John, man, if you get those 2 tackles back and just slowly move those freshmen up the line, because I think that Foger and Fasusi are going to fight for starting, because they're that good. I think they're that good. And that's nothing against Isaiah Autry-Dent or any of the other players. I really do believe that those 2 are elite talents that could walk in and take jobs day one. But they still got to figure out Bill Beatonbo's way of playing. So, yeah, I think you're right. The 2 Jakes are the ones that I'm monitoring the most. I need to see them get healthy.
Well, and if they're not, you've got Luke Baklenko, you've got Derek Simmons, 2 veteran.
I didn't even mention them. That's 4 deep right there, John.
Your offensive tackle position is looking pretty good.
Whew.
I mean, I like it.
Oh, it's as safe as I would have not expected to be this safe. I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, you've got a lot of injury insurance along the offensive line at this point. Just final note here before we get out of here, Jeff Roberson, a linebacker from Oklahoma State, who Oklahoma was apparently targeting, had him in for a visit earlier this week, is going to Minnesota, joining up with PJ Fleck and the Golden Gophers. Any surprise there, Jay?
Not really. I know that he was favored to come to Oklahoma for as soon as he did a visit.
Wrong.
He was literally fonged like the day that he said he was coming to visit Oklahoma, because when Kendall Daniels committed. And to me, I looked at it, I was like, well, he comes here if he's okay with being literally 3rd string.
Right.
Because he's not going to be over Kip and Kobe. And honestly, Kendall Daniels is probably 3 guys that are going to get some run with Sammy Omosigho right there. And, I mean, contrary to popular belief, Jared Kannick's going to get a lot of run. They still really like him. They're just trying to get him to be able to take that step up that Danny Stutzman did. And he's doing it right now in the social media piece. We just got to see Jared Kannick do it on the field. So, but I do believe that's 5 guys right there that are going to play. And that's not even, then we're not even getting into your Nestas and Taylor Wine and Taylor Heim, who both could, Wine can play edge, but also linebacker. Taylor Heim can play a combination of cheetah and linebacker. He needs to get his weight up. Then you still got Nesta and Marcus James. So you've got yourself a pretty nice long line of linebackers. And unless Jeff is fast enough to go out there and push them out of the spot, it was going to be a tough opportunity for him to get in there. But those snaps were going to be helpful.
Yeah. It would have been nice to have a veteran presence like him with the linebackers and with the defense. But, dude, yeah, it was going to be tough to see him earn playing time.
Yeah.
Because I just think the ceilings are higher with Kobe and Kip. Now, again, I think he could have played. I think he would have gotten some rotational snaps, but I mean, he can go to Minnesota and potentially be a starter. And I think that's huge for a guy like that. So shout out to Jeff Roberson for going and finding a good landing spot. I love PJ Fleck. I think he's a really good coach.
Yeah, I like Fleck
and
too.
There's a lot of stability up at Minnesota, and they play a tough brand of football. So I think he'll fit in quite well up there. So just a shame that Oklahoma wasn't able to land him. But that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out the channel Unfair Sports over on YouTube. Follow me at John 9 Williams. The show is at Locked On Sooners wherever you get your podcasts. And Locked On Sooners on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram,
everywhere,
Threads. Not quite on Blue Sky just yet, but we'll get over there eventually.
We'll get there one day.
We're branching out into all the social media atmospheres. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer.
Sooner. Go to Sooners Wire.